Executive session now?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay,
We're going to do all that.
okay, got it.
Good evening and welcome to the Marlington Local School District Board of Education meeting of Thursday, February 16th, 2023. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Invocation, Mr. Voss.
Please join me in the invocation. Dear Lord, we thank you that we can have this meeting tonight, and we pray that you will give this board great wisdom, that you will help them in their duties, and that you'll just help Marlington to be a wonderful place to learn. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call.
Josh Hagan,
Here.
Karen Humphreys,
Here.
Kathy Krupko,
Here,
Mark Ryan,
Absent.
Jonathan Swift,
Here.
Nash Minor.
He will be here at 6:30.
Very well. Noted.
Okay, reading of the mission statement, Mrs. Kathy Krupko.
thank you. In collaboration with staff, community, parents, and students, the Marlington Local School District will develop lifelong learners who understand and apply knowledge and demonstrate excellence in pursuing the highest standards with effective intervention to challenge every student.
Thank you. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? Okay, none. Adoption of the meeting agenda. I recommend the Marlington Local School Board of Education adopt the following agenda for February 16th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Jonathan Swift,
Yes.
Kathy Krupko,
yes.
Josh Hagan,
Yes.
Karen Humphreys.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Is there a motion for the Marlington Local School District Board of Education to recess into executive session pursuant to Revised Code 121.22 G3, conferences with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending court action?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphreys,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Okay, time in is 6:03. Okay, we're out of executive session at 6:29 PM. All right, special presentations.
Okay, we're on to special presentations here. I did ask, because I knew we were going to be in exec session, so I tried to have the administrators reach out to their students of the month to come at 6, or come here about 6:30, so it looks like we're good. So we're going to go ahead and start with our high school with Mr. Farrell. Come on up.
Good evening, Mike Farrell, high school principal, and it's my pleasure to introduce and award 2 students from the high school as Elks Students of the Month. First one is Lexi Miller. Lexi, come forward, please. Lexi is the daughter of Stephanie Castina and Michael Miller. She is a captain and 4-year letter winner on the varsity girls basketball team. She is also a member of the French National Honor Society. Following graduation, Lexi plans to go to college and pursue a bachelor's degree in business management. Lexi's teachers say that she is an outstanding citizen and student of Marlington High School. Her contributions to classroom discussions, high test scores, and her ability to think critically set her apart from most others. She always comes to class prepared and ready to learn. Lexi truly understands and embraces the importance of education and putting forth one's best effort at all times. In addition to being an incredible student, Lexi is kind, polite, and respectful to both the students and staff at Marlington High School. She exhibits other great character traits as well, such as discipline, perseverance, and the desire to work hard to achieve her goals, as evidenced by her academic and athletic achievements. Lexi, it's my pleasure to recognize you as an Elks Teen of the Month. Congratulations. Our other Elks Teen of the Month is Jordan Beggs. Jordan, come forward, please. Jordan is the son of Doug and Christy Beggs. He is a member of the National Honor Society and is a peer tutor here at the high school. He is a 4-year member of the cross-country, indoor track, and outdoor track teams. Jordan spends his free time volunteering at Beechwood United Methodist Church and Peace United Methodist Church as the sound booth operator. He also enjoys woodworking, building new things, and working with computers. Following graduation, Jordan plans to attend Moulin University to major in cybersecurity. Very cool. Jordan's teachers say he is a great student to have in class. He's dedicated to his classwork and will work on projects with a singular focus. He accepts challenges and difficulties and uses determination and creativity to overcome them. He is capable of deep thought and planning his schoolwork and has the focus to see it through. Jordan is also willing to help out his classmates. He has a positive attitude and is always friendly to those around him. Jordan is well deserving of this honor and embodies the characteristics all Marlington students should strive to achieve. Jordan, it's my pleasure to recognize you as an Elks Teen of the Month. Congratulations. Next up is middle school principal, Mr. Rizzoletti.
For our first student of the month, the middle school would like to recognize Dustin Jones. Dustin is represented by his grandparents, Diane and Jeffrey Blazer. Dustin's a great student all around. He's always on task and works hard on assignments. He's a respectful and polite young man who leads by example. He's grown academically throughout the year and is a joy to have in class. Dustin's diligent in his work and deserving of all the recognition that he gets. His teachers are so proud of him. Dustin Jones from the middle school. And the second student of the month from the middle school is Cadence Bernard. Cadence is the daughter of Holly and David Bernard. Her teachers have this to say about her. Cadence always has a cheerful attitude, is kind, and is willing to help out. She's welcoming of other students and has a positive presence about her. You can always count on a smile and an upbeat attitude from Cadence. She's a very hard worker, participates well in class, and helps those around her. She treats others with respect and encouragement while in the classroom. Cadence Bernard. We're now on to Mrs. Weber and Lexington.
Good evening. I have the honor of recognizing Mr. Caleb Taylor. He could not be here this evening, but he's our 5th grade Kiwanis Student of the Month for Lexington Elementary. Caleb was selected as Kiwanis Student of the Month because he is truly reaching for the stars in class. He has been excelling while working within his IXL skill plan, going the extra mile to earn all the points available with a score of 100%. As a result, his confidence is also growing and helping him to participate in his classes by volunteering to answer questions. Caleb also makes sure everyone in class feels included and has a partner for group work, which we love. What can we say positive about Caleb? Caleb also works with younger students in our building on math and reading skills daily. He has a couple of partners that he goes down and visits in the morning, and he works with them on the skills that they need. What Caleb had to say about himself, that his favorite subject in school is reading, and that when he talks about his family, who he lives with his mom, his dad, his grandmas, his sisters, and he has 2 dogs. Something that he hopes to do in the future, he would like to work for the NFL, and he would like to go to the Super Bowl, wouldn't we all? And then one more thing he wanted to share with us about himself is that he plays football, he's left tackle, and he loves video games. And that's Caleb Taylor, 5th grade Lexington Kiwanis Student of the Month. Next up, Mrs. Kitty Mort from Marlboro.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Marlboro Elementary's February Kiwanis Student of the Month, Angel Diaz-Moncada. A little bit about Angel from his teachers. Angel works hard in class to follow directions, make good choices, take ownership for his behaviors, and support other students. He greets each day with a smile and is always prepared for class. Angel's personality is a great fit for 5th grade because he is flexible and able to make the changes needed to be successful each day. The 5th grade teachers are very proud of Angel's hard work and dedication to our Duke Pride expectations and being a good friend. Great job, Angel. A little bit more about Angel. Angel describes liking math and recess as his favorite subjects in school. 1, because math is easy for him. He adds that Mr. Greco is a great teacher. And he also enjoys social studies because Mrs. Beatles has a special way to make it interesting and that it's fun to learn from the past. Some things about Angel's family. Angel lives with his mom, dad, sister Melanie, and brothers Jonathan and Justin. Angel also has a Yorkie named Kay. As a family, they love going on vacations together, specifically Las Vegas and Mexico. They often spend time with their extended family, going bowling, enjoying movie nights, and having sleepovers. Angel's future plans include going to visit the Sea of Stars because it is quiet, peaceful, and beautiful. This is an ocean that you can only see at night. For Angel's future career, he would like to be an actor and an artist. He likes to entertain and has a natural ability to be dramatic. He also enjoys opportunities to draw, sketch, and paint. In Angel's free time, he likes to play volleyball and basketball. He enjoys spending time with his besties, Aubrey and Cadence. Angel's friends tell me that, in fact, Angel is very entertaining and super funny. Angel is very well liked by our staff and students at Marlboro Elementary. Again, congratulations, Angel Diaz-Moncada, Marlboro's Kiwanis Student of the Month for February. Next up, Mr. Spondil for Washington Elementary.
Good evening, everyone. I am happy to present Washington's Kiwanis Student of the Month, Riley Cannon. Ready? Some things her teacher said about her. Riley is a great student, a very outgoing person. Outside of school, she enjoys hanging out with her friends and doing cheer competitions. Riley works very hard in the classroom and is very driven to do well. She is energetic, spontaneous, and is very kind and caring towards her friends. She is well known at Washington for being an excellent dancer and choreographing dances for the 5th grade students. She's extremely creative, and we enjoy having her at Washington. Congratulations, Riley. Her favorite subject in school is art. We asked about her family. She says she has a mom, stepmom, dad, stepdad, 4 brothers, and 1 dog, and she loves to go to the water park with everybody as often as she can. In the future, she would like to travel, and she would especially like to visit Paris. And something special about Riley that she does, she said something she does every week is she goes to tumbling practice, and she has been a cheerleader for the last 6 years. Congratulations, Riley, well deserved.
Okay, before we go into the main portion of the meeting, this would be the time if parents and students, if you wish to depart, you can, or you can stay and enjoy the meeting if you would like. It's up to you. Okay, we're going to move on to the portion of the meeting here. We're going to start with our OSBA presentation. Mrs. Kathy Krupko.
Okay, nominations, are open right now for the OSBA Business Honor Roll. It's an opportunity for our school district to honor a local business that's been very instrumental. And March 10th is the nomination deadline for that. Just a reminder on that. And they have also opened 2024 Ohio Teacher of the Year nominations. Those are open February 1st through March 23rd. So if we have anybody that we would like to nominate for that, we can get those in. Governor DeWine has announced his budget recommendations, and the following are education-related items that have been highlighted. He is planning to continue his phase-in of the Fair School Funding Plan. He would like to provide all public and private schools funding for school resource officers. He is looking to provide $100 million to launch a new in-demand career tech programs and industry-recognized credential programs statewide. He would like to increase eligibility for Ed Choice vouchers up to 400% of the federal poverty level. He would like to require the Ohio Department of Education to create professional development coursework, and there's a lot of specifics that go with that, and also to support 100 additional literacy coaches in schools and districts with the lowest reading proficiency. He would like to continue funding for tutoring service and provide additional college credit plus funding to provide additional training for teachers to instruct college classes on high school campuses. And that's the gist of what affects us on his budget. And that's all I have for right now, other than I have been named to as OSBA liaison to the Ohio High School Athletic Association. So any concerns athletic-wise that you or Mr. Miller have, I guess I'm to take them to meetings in April.
Fantastic. Questions for Mr. Krupko's report? All right, we do get to welcome Mr. Nash Minor here. He was asked to come at 6:32 because of our exec session. So, Nash, you are up as our student board representative report, and we'll go ahead and let you start off here. You can either go up to the mic or be there, depends on what you have.
He has a presentation.
Alrighty, so I wanted to first start off saying that Marlington High School has had a really eventful past month, and even though it's a little cold outside, a lot of people want to stay inside. We are all definitely keeping busy and doing a lot of productive things. So the first thing on academics and extracurriculars, on the academic side of things, the juniors are now preparing for their upcoming ACT later this month, and I really have seen a lot of people really putting in effort to try to study for it and do their absolute best, so it's a little nerve-wracking time, but it's an exciting time as well. Another academic extracurricular we have is the Academic Challenge, and they have an upcoming competition at Mount Union on March 5th, so we could hopefully wish them luck. Our ROCKS group, our girls group, teaching girls all about being independence and self-affirmation and strength. They did a self-defense training last week, which was pretty cool. They did it with administrators, and it was a really cool day overall. For the National Honor Society, they had the rigatoni dinner a couple of weeks ago, and then the tapping is coming in about a week, so that's also an exciting time for everybody. Interact and Character Counts teamed up together for Team Trevor Night back in January. It was a really huge night with great turnout. There was a lot of money raised for cancer. It was a great cause, great night overall. It was a lot of fun. Student Council had Winter Formal, and that was a big success. You're doing better and better every single year. Just last year, they made the decision to do it after a Friday basketball game. And that was really a cool move, and it was really different. And I think it's starting to really get a lot of traction here. More on the arts and performing arts side, our band and choir had solo and ensemble back in January. The way solo and ensemble works is you have a piece as either an individual or as a group, and the groups can be pretty small to a decent size, usually no more than, I would say, 6 or so. And they perform in front of a judge and different classes of music. Class A is considered to be the hardest of all the pieces. Class B is considered to still be a very high challenge, and Class C is still a good challenge, but maybe a little bit more manageable for some. Through this, in total, there were 16 superior ratings, which is the highest ranking you can get in a piece, and there were 14 excellent ratings. Some special shout-outs I have are Elizabeth Mason, Hope Bear, and Sarah Hagendorfer. They all got a superior rating in Class A, which is a remarkable accomplishment, so that was really impressive to watch. Also, the band have new uniforms, which they have been talking about trying to get these uniforms for about 5 years now, so it's really, really exciting that they finally got that to come through. The musical is coming up. They're going to be performing Annie for us. The performance dates will be March 16th to March 19th in the auditorium. Tickets will be coming out soon. They're not quite out yet, but just keep an eye on for that. On the sports side of things, our cheerleaders were EBC runners-ups not too long ago, and they also qualified for the state meet. So we'll be keeping good eyes on that to see how that turns out for them. Our bowling team has had a lot of improvement from last year. The girls have won 5 games so far this season, and they're having a very large tournament February 19th in Kent. So we're going to be wishing them well for that. The wrestling team finished the regular season 16-5, which was a very impressive record. 6 of the wrestlers are state ranked. And there's a huge league competition in Eastern Ohio that is during the regular season. It's almost like a conference meet, but just not with the Eastern Buckeye Conference. They placed 5 of their wrestlers there, and they got 2nd overall in Division II. So really good day for them. Our basketball, on the boys' side, they've had a lot of hard-fought games, and something I've been to quite a few of these basketball games, and I must say, like, even if it isn't a win, it's darn close. Like the Alliance games, they're a formidable opponent, doing very well in their season, and we have put up a great fight on both of those games, making it like to the last buzzer. So they've done a very good job. They have a tournament February 24th coming up, so we're going to be keeping an eye on results for that. The girls have had a really successful season. They had their 3-peat in the conference championship. They are currently ranked 7th in the state. Maria Warner back in December got the all-time assist school record, and there are hopefully going to be some more records broken here very shortly. They have district finals February 25th, so that'll be an exciting game. And last but not least, we have our swim team, which we have had a really impressive season from our swim team thus far. They've broken 3 school records. Claire Cox, Caitlin Cox, Leah Guess, and Megan Montgomery have all qualified for the district meet, which is the 2nd round of competition. The following one will be the state meet. 2 of our relay teams are ranked in the state, and 3 of our girls are ranked in the state in a total of 8 individual events. Some special ones we'd like to note. Claire Cox is ranked 2nd in the state for the 100 breaststroke, and she's ranked 5th in the state for the 100 freestyle. Leah Guess is ranked 4th in the 100 backstroke, and Caitlin Cox is ranked 10th in the 200 freestyle. So it should be a really exciting state meet, hoping all goes well. But besides that, I encourage everybody to keep an eye on the Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages for Marlington High School. There's always great updates, usually the night of whatever happens. So, yeah, it's a great way to stay posted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nat.
See you next.
I'd like to request a brief recess,
Just need a little break.
just a break.
Can we just pause?
We don't need to vote on that, do we?
You have a right to step away?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to move on to the curriculum report. We're going to go ahead and welcome up Miss Renee Cayley, our curriculum director.
Good evening, everyone. I am going to give you a somewhat brief update on what's been going on over the past couple of weeks with our curriculum and our DLTs. We're going to focus today on our one plan goals status update. This is something, we have 3 goals here in the district, and I think it's important to not only keep our board but our community updated as far as the progress we're making towards those goals. The goal 1 of our one plan is an academic goal. If you remember, we said that by May of 2024, 100% of students will demonstrate a year's worth of growth in reading and mathematics as evidenced by district-approved assessments. And the student measure is that 100% of our students will show at least a year's worth of growth from these district-approved assessments. And the approved assessment that we decided upon was MAP. So we use NWEA MAP. We're implementing that K-12, and we're doing both reading and mathematics assessments with that. And so the information that I am about to show you is just some data that has from our fall to winter benchmark. And if you can see, what we are looking for here is we want for those blue bars, I'm going to keep it simple instead of going into a bunch of mathematical terms, but what we're really looking for is we're looking for those blue bars to be touching or passing those orange diamonds, okay? And I will tell you that when we look at this in comparison to our last year's benchmarking, that we are seeing significant growth in many of our areas. We're really excited to look at our kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. Even though we are not quite up at our RIT growth yet for KN1, I think that this shows that what we are doing in our foundation, with our foundational literacy pieces, with our Haggerty and our foundations, is really helping to close those gaps for our students. I also, one of the things that we really wanted to celebrate, if you look second grade all the way through 7th grade, we are meeting that mark. We've had some really good conversations about, what's going on in 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. Part of that is making sure that these assessments are meaningful and relevant to our students. I think that is incredibly important for them to understand the why behind it. So our administrators and our teachers have been really working hard to try and help develop that. This is brand new for our 11th and 12th graders. One of the things we've learned is that there's a connection you can see based upon your math growth. There's a report that you can go into. You can choose a university or college that you're interested in and see where should your MAP score be if you want to get accepted into that college or university based upon their requirements. And so once again, if I'm a student that's planning to attend college, that might be a useful piece of information to me. We're gonna look at the mathematics here in a second. Here we go, and here's our mathematics. Once again, really excited about what we're seeing here. I will tell you, you see some missing information in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. That is because we had to close the report in order to do our district leadership team meeting, and so it just didn't pull that data yet. So we had students, because we have multiple things going on at our high school that are all equally important, we did not get those results in time for this particular report. Doesn't mean we won't have data, we just didn't have it for this. The other thing I wanted to just recognize for a moment is, we are doing a really nice job, like I said, getting that buy-in and really starting to celebrate the MAP growth across the district. Our buildings are doing various things to celebrate students. Not only is it important for our students to have high levels of achievement, but we want our students to show that growth as well, because no matter what student you are, whether you are a struggling student, whether you are a student that is excelling, we still want to see you grow academically, and that is so hugely important. And so these are just some examples of ways that we are celebrating that growth across the district. Any questions so far? Okay. The next goal is our climate and conditions goal. We said that by May of 2024, Marlington Local School will focus on meeting the needs of the whole child through reinforcing and refining our systematic, that means MTSS means multi-tiered systems for support for positive behavior interventions and supports at all 3 tiers in our elementaries, our middle schools, our high schools. And that's going to be measured by our care team data. And basically what that's saying, our student measures, we're saying 100% of our students, it's our goal to make sure that their non-academics needs are met as well in the least restrictive environment. So if we're meeting their academic needs, we also know that we need to be meeting their non-academic needs and, you know, making sure that students have the supports they need to be successful. What's really neat is, so we, at our DLT, in February, our goal groups 2 started looking at what's called a student learning perception survey, and they took that survey back to their building leadership teams and decided upon the questions that they wanted to ask their students. And so we are actually administering K-12 a student perception survey to all of our students. Now, mind you, it's going to be, think of how to say this, it'll be relevant to kindergarten. You know, those questions won't look the same as our 12th graders are going to receive. But the importance of that is it's important for us on the staff to understand what are our kids' perceptions of what's going on here. How do they feel when they come to school? How do they feel about their academics? Once again, because we want to make sure all their needs are being met. And then what we'll do as a district leadership team is we will go through those results and see what are some areas that we need to focus on. The second part to that goal, too, is we completed what was called a positive behavior interventions and supports tiered fidelity inventory. What that meant was we had each of our buildings work with Colleen Cornish from SST 9, our state support team, Region 9, and they went through a pretty grueling process of going through each tier of PBIS and having some candid conversations around, are these things happening in our buildings? And if not, why not? Or what can we do to ensure that it is happening? And I just want to show you an example. This is the actual. So you go through, and 0 would mean not implemented, a 1 would mean that it's partially implemented, and a 2 would mean that it was fully implemented. And there's multiple pages of this where you talk about your team, the team composition, the team operating procedures, you know, and we went through and we ranked them and had discussion. I will tell you, in some cases, we're at a 1, and if we make one minor change or add one additional piece to the process, we'll be at a 2 for the district or for the building. So once again, this is just data to help us make better decisions for our policies and procedures when it comes to positive behavior interventions. Sorry, hold on one second. Ben, I think I just closed out totally. Sorry. So the third part to that, I just totally X'd out. The third part to that is our district alignment. So we are looking at ensuring that we have alignment that's going on K-12 with different things that we are doing. And that came up in our one needs assessment, thank you, about what are some of the things that we need to make sure that we're having consistent conversations. And part of that is creating a shared agenda. So when we're having those building leadership team meetings, when we're having those teacher-based team meetings, that we have a common agenda that we're working from. So we know that we are discussing the work of the district, the work of the one plan. And so goal group 3 worked really hard to create that agenda. I have it linked in here, so I'll show you here. Maybe I won't, because then I don't want to lose it again. But once again, it's just an important piece for us to be able to have that alignment and have those consistent conversations. And then the last part, and I think this is probably one of the most important things that we are doing as a district leadership team and a building leadership team, we've created what's called a plus delta form. And you know, we talk a lot about making sure that everyone's voice is valued and heard. And this plus delta form is an absolute way to ensure that that is happening. What it does is it allows you to reflect on the meeting in and of itself. what went well with the meeting? We're not talking about the content of the meeting, but did we start and end on time? Did everybody have an equal voice during the meeting? Our norms, did we approach everything with positive intent? Did we keep a district focus if we're on the district level? Did we keep a building focus? And so it really allows us to reflect, and then we use that data to make the next meeting better. I'll give you an example. One time, on our district team, one of the pieces of feedback said, when we break into our small groups, we don't all have an equal voice. Some folks are talking more than others. Well, that's not acceptable. That goes against our norms because we have different representations in those groups. And so at the next DLT, we talked about, hey, we need to make sure that, and we put in some things in place to make sure that everybody had an equal opportunity to share out. So I think that gives ownership to our teachers, from our buildings leadership teams to our teacher-based teams. So truly every single person's voice and opinion and background matter. And I think our building leaders, our administrators are doing a great job with this, because they're taking that information and tweaking and making adjustments for the next meeting. And that's all I have so far for this month. So I don't know if you have any questions.
I have a question, just a comment.
Sure.
Every time you give a report, it just highlights how really complicated this is. I mean, that there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. Everyone thinks, they just send their student to school and you go learn, but there's so much preparation and other things going on behind the scenes.
And there are, and I appreciate you saying that. And it really is, our administrators are doing a very nice job at, creating that shared leadership style and connecting the work that we're doing to every single thing that's happening in our district. And I think that's the way we're able to go back to our why. And I don't want to say the word buy-in, but that's the way, people are getting on board because they understand the work that we're doing.
Yes.
And every time we do something, we relate it back to that. And then and I've been telling the team, we're not afraid to make mistakes. We're the ones that are making the decision. So if we say, hey, we're going to go this direction, and we realize that maybe it doesn't work for some reason, or as we're learning that we feel like there might be a better way, then we just pivot and adjust and we're allowed to do that. And so I think we've created an environment amongst our team, not only our central office, but our administrators, our district leadership team, our building teams, to be able to do that. And that is a truly, truly remarkable thing. So I'm very proud of them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, Renee, during the presentation, you mentioned, I believe the word was non-academic support.
Yes.
Just to understand better, what does that encompass?
Great question. So it might be that we have a student that comes to school and they have a food necessity, right? They don't have the ability to eat breakfast at home, or maybe they come and they have hygiene needs. So we want to make sure we know that about our students, and that we are putting together those resources so that they don't have to feel self-conscious or feel that they don't have, they aren't coming to school ready to learn. Also, that might mean that we have students that need to do what's called like a check-in. So they, might struggle a little bit with focus, and they need to check in with the teacher and make sure like we're on, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? Is there anything that you need? So all of those things go into those positive behavior interventions. We have calming corners in many of our elementary classrooms, so that if a student is feeling anxiety or feeling maybe overwhelmed with a lesson, they can go up, they can move back to that area of the room. There's resources there, fidgets, different things, so that they can just kind of center themselves again and go back into the lesson and be able to focus. So we have that as well at the middle and high school. There's just so many different layers to that, but ultimately it's just, we have those academics, but these are things that are sometimes barriers to receiving the academics, and we want to make sure that we remove those barriers for our students.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question.
Graphs that you showed us initially
Yes.
with the diamonds, and
Yes.
how did you set those goals? And you said we've shown growth. Do you have bars, or can you share with us, not necessarily where we were last year versus
Sure.
where we are
Yep,
this year?
I can send you that. So the diamonds are coming from, it's a nationally normed test. So it comes from those students who take that assessment across the country on the same instructional day. So if we take it like on the 100th instructional day,
yours is in comparison to those students that took it on the 100th instructional day across the nation. And so that's where those diamonds are coming into play. And so I can send you all a look at what it looks like from last year to this year. We actually did that at DLT, but I figured I didn't want to go too far into the weeds this evening, but I can send that to you, and you'll see that we have growth in many of our grade levels.
Okay,
And
thank you.
that's the overall district average.
That is, you see grade level by grade level, yes. And that's something we'll be looking at every year. You know, where are we at? And then teachers are doing a tremendous amount of work in between those, because we test fall, winter, spring. And then in between there, we're using like IXL skill plans, we're using Study Island and different resources where they're meeting the kids where they are and growing them. So if I'm a struggling kiddo based upon my MAP score, it's gonna meet me where I was at, and it's gonna help bring me up. Maybe it's up to grade level standards. Maybe I'm a student that did really well on my MAP, and I'm a 5th grader, and it's gonna allow me to acquire material that's moving up 6th grade and 7th grade. So not only are you reaching that achievement, but you're getting that growth as well.
I assume you break it down by building also, especially
It
with
is
the
broken up.
elementaries.
Mhm, absolutely.
So that we're sure the kids
Yep.
are all getting something similar.
Yes. So
Okay.
when we do district, so that was the district view. When we break into our building leadership teams, they're looking at building specific data. Yep. And then when we get into our teacher teams, we're looking at it by grade level. Yep, absolutely. Good questions. Anyone else? No? Okay, thank you.
All right, good evening. Mr. Swisher, Superintendent of Marlington Local Schools. This is my February district update. Let's see here. All right, we're going to continue. So I'll be talking about reasons to celebrate. This month, I just got a couple things that we're going to talk about for reasons to celebrate. We're going to talk about, it was this past week, but it happens all the time. We got a chance to make sure we celebrate it. It was a school counselor week and food service week. Okay, so sometimes these are underappreciated things that don't get acknowledged more often throughout the school year with all that they give. So we're talking about, and I just have some pictures of that. So we're talking about our food service. We got some pics of our ladies from Lexington. We got Rael there, the school counselor at the elementary. We got some pics of their Marlboro's staff. We have our middle school. We have Siobhan and Mrs. Fellers. And we have Mrs. Shackle there from the middle school, Mrs. Mitchell. We have Washington, some cooks from Washington there. Not every cook wants to be in a picture, so you kind of got to sneak those sometimes. So it's the ones that feel appropriate that want to be in there. We have our high school counselors, Mrs. Arrington and Mrs. Joyce, and our high school team there in the middle from the food service side. Our counselors are, our certified licensed educators to help improve the success for our students. And, there's different types of counselors. We talk about counselors all the time. So we have mental health counselors in our school, then we have school counselors. Those school counselors manage a lot of different balls in the air, I guess, at any given time. If you're a high school counselor, you're managing everything from academic strategies to individual coaching to social and emotional to plans for post-secondary. The middle school could be the same as much as you're talking about at the elementary, where you're on a daily basis being an advocate for a student, an advocate for a staff member. You're in and out of the classroom supporting different roles within that building for those kids. Those schools counselors are critical. Our current principal, Mrs. Mort, was one for years. And they're role models. And without them, we couldn't succeed. So, we do thank them for that. And obviously, if we're talking about our food service, I don't know if I can say enough about what they do. I mean, they show up every morning early. They work hard. They're an essential part of our school system. They're a significant role in our day-to-day operations. They work behind the scenes. They do inventory of all the food, hundreds and thousands of meals per year. They maintain the kitchen, the cafeteria. to very high standards. They're just an amazing group of people that come in every day to serve our students, breakfast, lunch, and sometimes go beyond the call of duty, you know, for specific kids with specific needs. So, you know, it's sometimes a thankless job, and we cannot run our district without them. So it was nice that the administrators last week spent a great deal of time of honoring their food service and their counselors in the building. So that's kind of what we want to talk about from the celebration end this month. Next up, as I told you last month, I was going to go over where we're at in the community survey results, because this survey won't close until June. So I'm kind of in my, I would say, halfway point of where I'm at. And obviously I want to give you an update on Nexus. I was not planning on giving you an update on Nexus, but some things have changed within the last few days. Okay, so I'm going to kind of talk about both those things. So bear with me here. Hey, Ben, is there a way I can make this bigger? All right, that's fine. Hold on, I'll drag it. Okay. So this survey, right now, I only have about 179 responses. You know, I questioned myself, you know, is that what a low response rate means to me? And I kind of made some notes, and I said, does that mean the results are wrong? I questioned myself a little bit, and I said no, not necessarily. Do I believe that bias could exist in low results? Absolutely. Do I am a firm believer in surveys? Not really. But why did I say I did this survey was partly because I want to know a little bit more about the community coming in as a new superintendent. As you look at this survey, responses comes in at different dates and times over a 3 to 4 month period, which helps me kind of guide this discussion a little bit. Let me be clear, I did not promote this survey through all calls or emails. This survey was pretty much discussed at a board meeting, my community sessions, and basically in the Marlington Post. You know, I do feel I did not rely heavily on any social media push or any type of push when it came to, you know, obviously using the ability of our one-call system to say, hey, can the parents, can you please fill this out? If you're a student, could you please fill this out? That may change in the spring because, you know, I obviously would like a mass result, but the original intent was just to kind of filter out, kind of get an idea, you know, where the community was without making a big push about this. So I'm going to kind of speed through this. So what I'm going to tell you is tonight, hopefully tonight, if not early tomorrow morning in the middle of the night, this will be a link on our website. So the full survey results, everything you see here. Same 33 pages that are here will be the same thing on the link, so you're able to take that, download it from there. First one was just what best describes you, so we're just looking at, this was just the bracket of if you're a parent or not a parent, and I'm going to kind of jumble through these because some of these I feel we're going to talk about, I'll talk about a little bit more. You know, there's 17 questions, if that's what you're looking at, like time-wise here. Age bracket for these current 179, you know, was basically you're looking at the bulk of our age was probably between 45 and 65 plus, 45 and older. All right. You know, time you've lived in Marlington, you know, the blog, you know, based on that, the response rate there for this survey was pushing a little over 20 plus years. 2 to 3 words how you describe the district. So, you know, and I'll allow you to read through this because there's you know, you're going to have a ton of opinions, which is what I wanted a little bit, and it doesn't matter if there was 500, it doesn't matter if it was 177, and it doesn't matter if there was 2. I more look at the time, you know, some of those things. You're getting a lot there. Anything from good district to declining to okay, drama-filled, country school, good district, but division in the community. Mixed emotions, mirrored in politics. Well-rounded, pushes levies, vastly underfunded. They're good, they're family-oriented, they're a mess. Great community, great education, small, tight-knit community, financially struggling. Not moving forward, dysfunctional, chaotic, adequate, excellent, and in danger. Great place. Disaster of leadership. Pretty good school district, optimistic. Great people, rural farm community. Previous dysfunctional board. Struggling financially. It goes on, which is good. 2 to 3 words. You read through these, and that's, you look at the timestamps, you'll see obviously when my Marlington post hit, because that's when you're going to see a lot of the 1018, 1019s. That's October. We're now in February. I'd really be curious what the responses would be 6 months later than what it was then. Who do you trust? I kind of mentioned this. I firmly believe who do they trust? They trust the teachers and support staff. Then maybe administration, then maybe the board. All right, we kind of know that. That's kind of been a trend forever, so that's not anything that doesn't surprise me. So there was an other. There might be other sources there that you can take a look at. I think there was 36 there, that other. In your opinion, is Marlington Schools offer, for Ian, and they mostly put a good academic experience, excellent, academic, neutral, fair. Those fell about where I thought they would fall. I did. In general, is Marlington local schools offer what? For your value. Excellent for my value, good for your value, fair. They're all in there. Poor, they're kind of scattered a little bit more in that one at the time this was given. Question 8, how would you rate the management of the finances? This is the only question that caught me off guard, because you're getting more into the fair, poor, and onshore. You got fair at 25%, poor 38%, onshore 6%. So you kind of got a lopsided thing. So this to me is lack of communication, is where I'm at with this, because I can't figure, when you say, how would you rate the management of finances? I feel like Marlington's an excellent steward of their money. And they haven't had new money in 22 years. So I'm assuming they've managed fairly well. So I think this is where, somewhere along the line, somebody's communicating something completely different. And that communication is, in the least with this group of people that responded, feels a little differently. So to me, these people need a little bit more communicated with about what's going on. Technology, right in par, excellent, good, fair, right where it was with the other ones. Physical conditions of the buildings, about where I thought we'd be, kind of right in the middle. Nobody thinks it's super excellent, nobody thinks it's super, they're on shore, but you got a little bit more on the good, fair, and poor. Sports, excellent, good, fair, all those are up there. A few a little bit unsure, which was good. To succeed in college or additional educational opportunities beyond high school. I'm glad they feel that, we are offering from that aspect. If you get, when you graduate here, you can't, most of them tend to agree or strongly agree, or they're just not sure. Preparing students for the trades, workforce, or military, about the same. This is a big one for me, so I like seeing that, but we're going to make this better. Extracurriculars, good, excellent, good, and fair, which was nice to see. Got a few more questions in here. So this one here, in general, do you believe Marlington Local Schools is headed in the right direction? So I said you got to be careful of the timestamps here. This is interesting. It's exactly, yes, 50.93%, no, 50.93%. Just because you put yes or no, the no's, if you read these, a lot of the, you guys got to get in. So you look at the yes, they just kind of, the way this survey was built, these are all yeses first. So you got 82 yeses. So kind of you can read through, why they feel this way. And then you kind of look at the timestamp. You got a few that were here within the last week or so, maybe 5 or 6. Most of these were in November, December, October, right when the post came out, which is what you expected. So you can kind of take a look at the yeses on that. And this will be on a link on the website. Everything you're seeing here will be right there. I'm not going to spend hours up here reading each one of those. But if you read some of these things, just continue to try to build trust with the community. If they spend our tax dollars wisely. In the past, they've spent money on dumb things. Hopeful. Then obviously there's 82 no's. You can read through some of those on the website when I get that posted, but like this no. As of now, no, Marlington's falling behind surrounding schools in terms of facilities, which makes the district less attractive. So they don't feel like it's a no, but they're giving it kind of like this is their rationale, it's a no. Less focus on college prep. More on the arts. More emphasis on education versus athletics. Grade leveling, centralizing classes not proven. Don't know why that's on there, especially because it came out on 129, so somebody hasn't heard me speak at all in the last 6 months. The board can't agree on things, so somebody hasn't watched our board meetings in the last 6 months. The board needs to stop pushing their own agenda. I guess somebody hasn't watched our board meetings the last 6 months. So I look at a lot of these within the last few days. I don't know. They're interesting because it's like they haven't watched our board. And a lot of these no's are just constructive criticism of how to get better, which is really what I like. My understanding, it's headed into financial problems. Well, that's, October is a possibility that was until we got through the November 5-year forecast. This, I have no idea. Why did they buy golf carts? As far as I know, we don't buy golf carts. But maybe they think we do, but that's a communication thing. This is a very constructive criticism in this one here. So, a lot of times when you're looking at the no's, we're going in the right direction. If you actually read through these 82, many of these no's aren't actually like no, they're not supportive of our district. It's just, they really just are given some type of constructive criticism. Not enough financial support from the commercial side of things. Lack of cohesiveness on the school board. Is it going in the right direction? No, the community's not supporting right now. These were things that we all talked about when I came on board. These are things we're talking about culture. That's you can kind of get in those. 16, what do you believe the largest challenges of facing Marlington local schools? Select 2. I would absolutely agree with both of these. Finances being number 1, building facilities being number 2. That is a pretty accurate answer. We have not had new money in 22 plus years. We do have buildings, facilities that we need to continue to maintain and upkeep. Work hard at doing that, as we talked about. It kind of then goes through, they could answer into that if they had, questions about that. Question 17, how do you currently receive your information? Most are the district newsletter, local newspapers, kind of all over, social media, website, they were able to answer, kind of getting the percentage, Marlington Post and so forth. That gave me an idea, then it gave some others, so it gives me, in case they have an other, we knew where they were getting their information. How would you prefer to get your information? The district newsletter seemed to be the one the most, the Post, local newspapers, website, mailings. Then there's other. They kind of put those on there, so I wanted to make sure if they put other, they could list and have the opportunity. So from that aspect of it, that's the, I will have that posted and up ready to go. Hey Ben, how do I get back to my...
Excuse me, Dan?
Yeah.
Did you say you're going to post that on the school's website?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. That's the only way, because it's 33 pages. I'm not going to run all the copies and then have it posted. I said I'd be very transparent, like I said, so I will just have that posted, those 33 pages just like that in a PDF. They'll be able to link, and if somebody wants to print it off, they can have it. They're there. And I will do one more follow-up probably in the June meeting to see if there's any additional responses on that, and that'll be it. But that just gives me, like I said, we have 179. It is not a large pool when you're talking about thousands and thousands, but it's 179 more voices that I didn't have, and it's no different than my community meetings. So I got to try to take each one and take a look at it, and how do we move forward from there. So, any questions about the survey? Okay. Nexus. Let's go to Nexus. We talked about Nexus. We had all this great news in the end of the summer that it settled, and we had a figure of what Marlington was going to get for this foreseeable future per year. Then Lorain County decided to appeal it, and we said it was going to sit in and we probably wouldn't get an answer from 3 to 5 years. This past Thursday, it was thrown out of court. Lorain County courts threw it out. So Alan Harold reached out. I did speak with him on 10 a.m. on Monday. We did find out on Thursday. So from last Thursday, Lorain County still has 30 days to appeal. They can appeal to the Court of Appeals or the Ohio Supreme Court. Now, Alan is, as he spoke with Mr. Foss and myself, he is hoping that there's enough significant pressure on the Lorain County auditor that they've settled once. The courts have thrown out their appeal. The hope would be let's just move on. And there's a lot of districts that would benefit from the additional funding that should come in. So we're hoping there is no appeal. So again, we're waiting on that. So if you're kind of looking, from my end, a 30-day timeline is around the March 13-ish, is kind of where we're at with that. If it does not get appealed, and that's kind of where Mr. Foss and I's fingers are crossed with Mr. Harold, and that's the way he's feeling too, it will go back to the previous settlement agreement. So what we talked about extensively over this past summer. So to put that in perspective, when they originally settled, as I've talked about this in many things, you know, the valuation of the pipeline was anywhere between 1.2 and 1.4 billion dollars. Nexus felt that that's not right. They had an evaluation of a much lower amount, and they settled. Their settlement amount was around $950 million. That was going to roughly bring us in over $2 million a year for the foreseeable future. Now, they did pay in tax year 21. They paid us this past year in 22 the full amount, $2.13 million, because that's when it came out, right when the settlement did. And then it was appealed. So the expectation is that we were roughly going to get about 1.3 million moving forward for the foreseeable future. So that's a difference of almost $700,000 or $800,000 a year, which is significant when we're talking about capital improvements and things that we want to do. As in the survey says, what are our two biggest concerns? Finances, buildings. You know. So with this change, long as there's no appeal, we should be, and Mr. Foss can elaborate in his report if he wants to, a little bit more on this. I'm going to keep this brief. About $2.05 million this coming year. Okay, coming in. Plus, obviously, they owe us back settlement that we never got originally from that, which is equivalent to about $838,000. It's $838,493.70 to be exact, plus interest, which he does not know the interest yet. That we would get probably within 45 days after they agree not to appeal. So that's, I don't want to get too excited either, because, you know, we've been really good stewards over money. And we know that when Nexus money comes in, it gets deposited in our general fund and then automatically gets removed from the general fund and put into the capital improvements fund. That's how the board designates it. This just opens up and gives the board an opportunity with recommendations from the administration or myself to maybe look at some capital projects or some preventative maintenance or some improvements in our buildings sooner than later. So I'm not going to say anything more about Nexus because that's just where we're at, but that's really good news. Something that we thought was going to be 3 to 5 years down the road is in 6 months later where it's getting thrown out of court, and it may end up, you know, back to where we thought. So I'm extremely excited for that. So that's just kind of give you that update, and as things come out a little bit more, you know, we'll definitely keep everybody updated. Any questions about Nexus? All right, finally, before we get me out of here, been up here a little too long. Next board meeting, the now. Where are we at? Where are we moving forward? So, as I said in the March board meeting, we're going to talk about summer projects. So we will end up having a discussion about buildings and grounds here coming up in a few weeks with the board. But when we get to the board meeting, as promised, I want to go into March with well ahead of schedule and knowing what we're going to try to achieve this summer for this district. So we're putting a comprehensive list together, and then we're going to hopefully have be able to tell the public right away, here's what's going to be done in Marlington. We're also going to have the president of the Alliance Area Development and the Alliance Chamber of Commerce. That's Rick Baxter. I sit on both those. I sit on the board for the Alliance Area Development and I'm on the Alliance Chamber of Commerce. I did ask Rick to come in because there's a lot of exciting things going on right now in our community, and it's going to affect Marlington. So I feel like it's important for him to come in and give a brief overview of what's going on. So I'm going to have him, he's going to come in next month and just give a quick synopsis. And then obviously next month, I think it's the time of the year, right? You guys not have had any transportation or technology updates, so we're going to have a little transportation technology update too. So that's where we're at coming up. Any questions for me before we move on? I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have we had anyone sign up for public participation? No.
Okay, I see we have no old business. All right, we're going to go into new business. All right, number one in new business is we have just the bowling report. We have by law twice a year we have to give a bowling report. So for the first half of the school year, for the 22-23 school year, we had, just to let you know, we had 3 reported instances in our K-12 buildings, and that's presented in Exhibit A, just to let you be aware. Any questions? Okay. Number 2, new business. We're going to recommend the motion to approve a following out-of-state field trip as shown in Exhibit B.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is just out-of-state field trip for our girls softball team. They're going to a tournament in Tennessee. This is completely paid for by the softball team.
Nice. Okay. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, number 3, this is the time of year where the board, I'm going to ask you to recommend the motion that the board continues to participate in the Inter-District Open Enrollment Program, Policy 5113, for the 2023-2024 school year for grades K through 12.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Mr. Swift.
Yes.
Passes.
And finally, number 4, we're going to recommend the motion that the board continues participation in the district open enrollment program, Policy 5113.01, for the 2023-2024 school year for grades kindergarten through 5th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, treasurer's agenda.
I'd like to make a recommendation that the Board of Education approve the minutes from the January 12th organizational meeting and the regular meeting from January 12th.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries.
Yes.
Passes. I'd also like to recommend that the Board of Education approve the financial reports for January, as shown in Exhibits E through G.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Is there anything that stands out or something to be highlighted, Mr. Foss?
Not really in the financial reports. You know, a quick review of like the monthly information shows that we're pretty much on track with our budgets. Compared to last year, we're about $125,000 lower in expenses than last year, but trending a tiniest bit above what's projected in the forecast. It's kind of a little bit in addition to what's in the resolution here, but I wanted to just kind of give a sense of where things are at too, with the department, with the treasurer's office. And that's kind of like we're finishing up a lot of the year-end reporting. We've got most of that done. There's still some outstanding items that need taken care of. And I say that because it's starting to become clear that we're going to shift our attention more to probably 2 things, I'd say, which is the 5-year forecast and what that entails, and then just looking for some additional efficiencies, looking in our processes. The forecast, the May forecast is really important because in this time of year leading up to it, because we'll start assessing where we're really at as far as our budgets versus actuals. Are we going to come in close to what's forecasted? The forecast will be updated by the end of May to reflect any changes that we've had, anything unexpected. We do know we're facing big inflation in some areas, just like all of us are as individuals too. We'll see how that impacts the forecast as we dig into it deeper. The big thing that makes the forecast important to me in May is that we're really starting to look at the following school year. So when we get that May forecast together, a lot of people will look at it like this is projecting where we're really going to end up the school year at. That's true, but at the same time, you should really have the work into it that this is setting the plan for the following year and beyond. So I see that kind of shift happening right now where we're starting to phase out a year-end cleanup. We'll be looking more at how we want to set things up for the upcoming year.
Bob, do we have an annual audit that's coming up soon, or
It's in process right now.
it's in process?
For
Okay,
fiscal year 2022.
okay.
And that's part of our year-end reporting, you could say. They get started a little later than some, but that's taking place currently. So a lot of the reports we've had to do lately have just been to keep them busy. We had an auditor in on Monday, for example, looking at payroll and accounts payable information, reviewing that, and so far it's going well.
Thank you.
Changed over to your data system. Are we making good progress on that?
I could have underlined the process part there where I said we want to look at improving our processes. One part of that's going to be really to try to take advantage of any professional development, especially related to some of the new softwares and things. And some of the bugs, if you will, too, that are just typically they're going to be there. Besides learning curve, you have issues that need to be worked through and learned about. We've had some things as simple as a checkbox not being marked for an employee's pay that says, okay, that's why their Medicare portion didn't come across to the general ledger, and little things like this that slow us down. So once we get some of those processes cleared up too with the software, even things like, I've already at least made a shot over the bow to Ben's office there to look at our hardware as well too, to look for efficiencies there. I'd like to do all we can to kind of grease the rails of the staff in the treasurer's office and get rid of some of these things that are slowing us down, that are frankly taking way too long, and not because of anyone's fault, but things like the software, some of the reporting that needs done. So it's coming. We're learning things all along the way here to make it better, but I'm getting a little bit clear vision of some of the things that we want to attack here and get in better shape.
Great.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Okay. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries.
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, item 3, revenue and appropriations. I would like to recommend a motion to approve the revenue and budget revisions as presented.
The motion.
in Exhibit H1.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
No, I would just like to share a little bit about that what you'll see in the revenue changes here is some good news as well too. It reflects a couple new grants. The one is the $500,000 safety grant, which will be used for improving facilities. And actually, they both are a safety-related grant. The smaller one that's included in that, I think, is going to be used for AEDs. At least that's what it was used for last year. It's a follow-up to that.
No, that's Mr. Evans followed up with an additional safety grant on top of the $500,000 with the grant team, and that grant got moved through very quickly, so we did get another grant for $10,337.23. We got that same grant last year, when I wrote it, which we used for upgrading our AEDs. This year, I think he's looking at different avenues, just kind of tacking it in with the additional 500.
Nice.
So, so there's more grants to come. We're just working through.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and the other one was a $12,167.23 grant for the homeless targeted support too, which will go to some of those family type things that I think was mentioned in Renee's report a little bit.
That's ESSER related.
Yes,
ESSER
it's a
funds.
sub-grant of that.
Great. All right, call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 4, donations. I'd like to recommend that the Board of Education approve the following donations as shown in Exhibit J. I'll read them for you here in a moment. Thanks, Dan, that's quicker. All right. From Ms. Leslie Cherry, Lexington Library, gift of $50. Ms. Humphries, books for libraries and classrooms, $270. Thanks, Dan.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, we do want to thank everybody for their donations every month. It's nice to see that we still continue to donate, so thank you. We're going to move on to personnel. If you guys are okay, I would like to consent this small group today. So quickly, I'll go in here. We have one certified retirement here. We have a certified resignation. We have a classified resignation. We have a supplemental resignation. We have 2 classified hires, cafeteria monitor and a custodian. We have our spring supplemental hires. And then we have a few more substitutes to add to our list to support us.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Motion passes.
We can do the announcements before we go in.
Yeah, we could talk about upcoming events here. Obviously, we tell you, please stick to the marlingtonlocal.org for our athletics tab because it's a full listing of all our sports schedules. Just a reminder that this Monday, February 20th, there's no school. That's President's Day. March 1st is coming up. It'll be the middle school, high school band concert. That was stated by Mr. Minor earlier that March 16th through the 19th will be our high school musical, Annie. Please, if you get a chance, come out and see that. It's just going to be an amazing program. And then obviously coming up quick, March 24th, the end of the 39 weeks. So we're moving here. So that's kind of the upcoming events here.
And our next board meeting will be March 16th here,
Correct.
at 6 p.m. Okay. And no action, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. With executive session, I'd like to recommend the motion for the Marlington Local School District Board of Education to recess into executive session pursuant to revised code 121.22G1 to consider the employment or evaluation of a public employee. All matters discussed in this executive session are designated to the public officials and employees as confidential pursuant to revised code 102.03B because of the status of the proceedings and/or circumstances under which the information will be received and preserving its confidentiality is necessary to the proper conduct of government business. Following executive session, no action is expected. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries.
Yes. Time in is 7:54 PM. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for the report.
Okay, you're good.
We're out of
Excuse me.
executive session at 8:58. And we're going to change the board meeting for next month because March 16th is the first night of our play. So we're going to move it up to the 15th. Bob, we didn't ask you. Are you able to make the 15th, the night before?
That should be fine.
I'm sorry. Okay, so it will be, the next board meeting will be March 15th at 6 PM here at the DLZ. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Thank you. Good
He
night.
was hungry. He stripped us of our names and everything before we ever got